It's GCNdex, and we're about to skate the edge of sanity. Way back in episode 9, we discussed Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2 by Z-Axis and Acclaim, which was meant to take on the extreme sports genre that was dominated by Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. We covered Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 in episode 14, and both of those episodes do a pretty good job of outlining the superiority that Tony Hawk games had over other attempts to capture their glory. This week, Z-Axis hangs up the bike, laces up their skates, and returns with another try for the crown with aggressive Inline. Released under their short-lived aka Acclaim label, Inline was much more than Tony Hawk with rollerblades. Sure, it followed the formula of closed levels with quarter pipes and rails littering every inch of space, a goal-based progression system focusing on trick combos and level traversement, and a handful of professional athletes of the field. Inline features the likenesses of inline skating stars such as Eito Yasutoko, Frankie Morales, Tag Chris, Chris Edwards, and many more. The game was even originally titled Chris Edwards Aggressive Inline, and while he remains in the game and on the box art, it seems that along the way they realized that another sponsored sports title might get drowned out on the shelf. The style of the game is similar to what you'd expect from an extreme sports game at the time, a punk aesthetic, a focus on speed, and bands like Hoobastank or Sublime on the soundtrack. This all works very well, and the overall presentation is pretty solid. It stays in the vein of the competition, but it's the underlying mechanics where the game truly shines. Gameplay is pretty standard. You skate around the level and perform challenges to unlock the next level, skating on ramps, grinding on rails, and trying to gain massive air. But before we get into what was great, let's talk about the controls. The general consensus at the time was that the game controls were simple and intuitive, but I did not find this to be the case. Maybe it's the fact that I've been playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for nearly 2 decades, or maybe it was really just the controls, but a majority of tricks and moves were mapped to strange button combinations. And while Inline introduced some fun new traversal mechanics involving swinging on flagpoles and streetlights, or vaulting over low walls, the controls were not nice enough to back them up. I found myself bailing more often than not because I couldn't wall ride an object without a 6-step combo of buttons. It made certain challenges dreadful to attempt. Speed was an overall issue, and even after maxing out my juice meter, which provides extra speed, the ability to perform special moves, and a cool flame trail, I never seemed to be able to get fast enough to perform the jumps required to progress further, and when I did, it felt random. Even utilizing the trick continuation techniques of cess sliding, which only worked sometimes, seemed to just slow me down. Cess sliding is supposed to allow you to link a vert trick into a manual and keep your combo going, but the timing was usually arbitrary and didn't result in high combos like you would find in Tony Hawk. But in spite of all of the control issues that I encountered, Aggressive Inline has some top-notch level design. There are 7 huge, let's just call them for what they are, worlds to skate through, and just when you think you're done, you go through a door and find a whole other side to the level. The completion of certain challenges will result in the altering of the level structure in some way. For instance, if you grind along the edge of the cliff set on the movie lot and then grind on some chains, a massive boulder will fall from the ceiling and crush a hole through some ramps, giving you new gaps to master. There's one in the Civic Center that results in a truck accident that provides new ramps and a new layer of the world to explore. There's even a particularly interesting mechanic in the Metal Foundry that doesn't even have you skating. Instead, the game opens up the level editing engine and tasks you with moving all of the level pieces into lava pools to help clean up the scrapyard. These moments all add a lot of great detail to the level that slowly evolves over time, and the worlds don't remain static throughout your time with them. This gives the game a sense of progression without even allowing you to progress to the next stage, and it's refreshing to see. In the end, Aggressive Inline was like a gift that you didn't really want in a pretty package. It looks great, and on paper it has everything going for it, but Z-Axis didn't shake off enough of the freestyle BMX formula to allow Inline to take over the market. We'll be revisiting Z-Axis once more in episode 162 with BMX XXX, but until then, Aggressive Inline remains a decent attempt at the genre, and most players could probably manage their way into having a good time, especially if they were heavily impacted by the best Disney movie ever made, Brink. That is it for this week's episode of GCNdex. If you enjoy the videos every week, consider backing us on Patreon. Even $1 a month will do a lot to support the project and help improve the experience. It's entirely up to you. Either way, please continue to show your support by subscribing, sharing, following along on Twitter at GCNdex and at GCNdex.com. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in next time when we regret most of our decisions in Disney's Party.